Good morning. I'm Pastor Steve Hom of Christ Our Savior Lutheran Church in Rockford, Michigan. This is your COScast for Monday, January 18th. We have some fresh powder falling from the sky this morning, a beautiful Michigan Monday morning. We'll think a little bit about what we heard in worship yesterday as we listened to the account of the calls of Philip and Nathanael. During the Epiphany season, we often hear gospel accounts of Jesus calling together his disciples, the individuals that would go with him on his public ministry and witness the wonderful work that he did, proclaiming the good news and then living, suffering, dying, and rising for the sins of the world. When Jesus approached Philip, he called him to follow, and Philip followed him. Philip was so excited to have found the Messiah, the Savior, he went and found his friend Nathanael and told him the good news. We found the one that was prophesied about in the scriptures. It's Jesus of Nazareth. Nathanael wasn't quite as excited. He was a little more skeptical. He said to Philip, "Nazareth? Can anything good come from there?" He exposed a blind spot that he had in his understanding of the Messiah. He can't come from the town of Nazareth. For some reason, Nathanael had an issue with Jesus being the Messiah and coming from Nazareth. And so it hindered his following the Lord. And sometimes we develop spiritual blind spots in our lives as well. The Lord calls us to follow. The Lord calls us to love our neighbor as ourselves, and sometimes we have a preconceived notion about our neighbor because of where they come from, what they look like, who they are, and it makes it difficult to follow the Lord, to show love to that neighbor. Thankfully, the Lord helps us overcome our blind spots, as Jesus did with Nathanael when he showed him his divine power, his glory, in telling Nathanael when he approached him, "Oh, I saw you before we even talked here. I saw you when you were under the fig tree, before Philip had called you." And Nathanael was convinced this Jesus truly is the Messiah, even though he's from Nazareth. He understood that he was wrong with his preconceived notion. The Lord can open our eyes as well, too, to the blind spots that we have in our lives, and show us how to truly love him above all else and love our neighbor as ourselves. And we thank him, and we seek him in his word to expose our blind spots and then to overcome them by his grace and his power. In our prayers yesterday in worship, we prayed for Cheryl Wynn, the sister of Lori Spleece, as she's undergoing radiation treatment for her cancer. We also prayed for Cheryl Sheridan, the mother of Leslie Ruppel, as she is hospitalized and recovering from a positive COVID diagnosis. We certainly ask for the Lord's healing hand in both of these women's lives, and also for his strength, the faith to persevere. One additional prayer request that didn't make it yesterday morning because it hadn't happened yet. I'll let you know that yesterday afternoon I received a divine call from Centennial Lutheran Church in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to serve as their pastor. And so I ask for your prayers now as I deliberate between the two calls that I'm holding: the call to remain a pastor here in Rockford, Michigan, and then the call to serve as a pastor there in Milwaukee. With that, God's blessings on your day as you follow the Lord.